Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Fred Wankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV. As usual, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are around the world. Today is an interesting topic, and I'll tell you why it's interesting. There are things going on in Nigeria that's been going on for a very long time, specifically since the beginning of the Civil War into the end of the Civil War and continuing up till today. My problem with you, my viewers, and many Nigerians is that we like to sweep things under the rug. When people like me talk, quite a few in the audience wonder, why is he always saying these things? Isn't he tired of it? The election is over. Yes, the campaign is over and the election is over and the steal is done. Many of you choose to leave it alone. But what you don't realize is that the cabal and the people who stole the election are not leaving it alone. Stealing the election was just the beginning of a grand, wicked plan that they have. And if you don't stop them, every one of us that is not in that cabal, the progressive Yorubas, the progressive Igbos, not the pocketed Igbos, the progressive Fulanis, Hausas, Edos, we're all going to suffer because they have a grand plan to, on one hand, minimize Igbo people, on the other hand, steal your country blind. And during that stealing, they have no plans for you. You could be a Yoruba person who is not supporting them. They don't have any plans for you. Even the Yoruba bigots that support them are already crying because they haven't delivered what they promised to the bigots, not to talk about the progressives in Yoruba land that are fighting them. So we need to make sure that we keep talking about these things, sharing these videos, bringing people's awareness to what's going on. The main topic on this one that is going on is how the xenophobic movement and attacks in Lagos is directly related to the dog whistles that the cabal has been sending out for years now. I want to tie three of those dog whistles together. One is from the elder Baba Ahmed, Dati Ahmed's older brother, the one who is one of the elder statesmen in the Ariwa movement. The other one is an audio you've heard several times, but I cut it short, just the relevant part, from Shetima, talking about what the Fulanis and the Yorubas are going to do to Igbos in Lagos. And the third one is from Bola Tinubu as a senator visiting a market in Lagos and telling the Igbo market women what's going to happen to them if they don't support APC. In fairness to Bola Tinubu, I speak Yoruba. I heard what she was saying, and I don't think she was being mean-spirited. She was talking in jest to her Igbo friends. However, even in jest, she was more or less regurgitating things she's been in settings with APC people and the cabal people, or she's heard them talking about, and her talking points at the market coincided with that evil plan that Bola Tinubu and Shetima and APC and the bigoted Yorubas who Bola Tinubu has sold it to, starting with Governor Sanwo-Olu, it coincides with their plans That's the only place I fault Remi Tinubu. But in terms of her doing it out of malice, I don't think she did. But that was a very expensive joke, and it's going to come back to haunt her. In the interest of keeping this video short, I'm not going to show the Remi Tinubu clip, but if you really want to watch it, if you go to YouTube and Google Remi Tinubu in the market, it'll pull it up. But you guys are complaining the videos are too long, so I'll keep it short. In the meantime, as usual, I need to pay some bills. So please take a look at my sponsors, and if you have a need for any of the services they provide, call them. They are very good at what they do, and I'll appreciate it because they are the winds beneath my wings.
Ndababa aije kelende wegu ndababa ndababa ndekaraka monkri yeye ndekaraka anajari shugomuno tuladi aikene Fred Wankwo Ezudo Eze Nwafosi Ajalebia Publisher African Lifestyle Magazine Chicago Nwafo ndị Chicago Jemba Ndababa aije kelende wegu Ndababa Ndababa ndekaraka monkri yeye.
Now, with that out of the way, let's get into business. Here is Hakeem Baba Ahmed. He's the older brother, much older brother, to the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Dati Ahmed. Just listen to him. And what I want you to take out of this is listen to the dog whistles while he's being very diplomatic and careful in picking his words. But when it's all said and done, it's time for Igbos to leave Nigeria.
The Northern Elders Forum has reviewed events and tendencies which suggest that the country is headed for more crises. Nigerians live in fear of violence today and in fear of an uncertain future. The capacity of the Nigerian state to secure citizens, protect the country's territorial integrity, and resist violent assaults on our unity is weakening to levels of making threats that have no impact. Armed criminals of all types have increased their audacious stranglehold over our lives in all parts of the country. Irredentists are increasingly asserting their influence over in the southeast and some parts of the country, and in the manner that millions of Nigerians now live. Rhetorics from political leaders and ethnic champions who speak in threats and demands routinely suggest that the sentiments in support of irredentism are becoming more widespread. All Nigerians are paying the price of failure of two sets of leaders. At the national level, the administration appears to have lost the capacity to hold the gradual descent of the country into anarchy. Political leaders in the southeast appear to have submitted to violence and terror of IPOB and ESN. Muted voices of millions of Igbo cannot be heard, so that Nigerians can understand the degree to which secession by the Igbo represents their popular choice. Nigeria has had to fight two terrible wars to preserve a terrible war to preserve the country. The North has paid its dues in that war, and indeed in many ways throughout the history of our country. Under our current circumstances, no Nigerian should welcome another war to keep this country together.
Now, I hope you're listening carefully before now and even more after this. Listen to the dog whistle. He's talking about a banditry and agitation problem that spreads across Nigeria. People in the Delta are agitating. Boko Haram in the north are agitating. The Igbos are agitating in the west, and IPOB is agitating in the east. Listen carefully. All he's picking on is the Easterners, IPOB, ESN. I'm not in support of IPOB. I'm not in support of ESN. I'm in support of Igbos getting their acts together. However, why was he so focused on the issues and the agitation in the East and not Boko Haram, which is the main problem in Nigeria, or Igbos or the people in the Delta? That's the Nigeria we live in. And I say this so that non-Igbos in Nigeria can stop playing into this nonsense about those Igbos again. Igbos have had enough. Igbos can't just sit down and be the soccer ball you kick around. Listen to your leaders and talk to your leaders. And the progressive ones among you, which I see the Yoruba progressives always talking about, the progressives in the rest of the country need to step up to the plate. Let's continue.
The North in particular has more than enough challenges, and we recognize that violent secession by any part of Nigeria will compound the problems of all Nigerians under which we live. The forum has arrived at the difficult conclusion that if support for secession among the Igbo is as widespread as it is being made to look, and Igbo leadership appears to be in support of it, then the country should be advised not to stand in its way. It will not be the best choice for the Igbo or Nigerians to leave a country we have all toiled to build and a country we all have responsibility to fix. But it will not help a country already burdened with failures on its knees to fight another war to keep the Igbo in Nigeria. This forum insists that attacks and killings of northerners and federal government employees and destruction of national assets must stop. Those who have been involved in it must be arrested and prosecuted. Until the Igbo decide whether it wants to secede or remain part of Nigeria, the law applies to it, and the federal and state governments who have responsibility to enforce the law and protect citizens must enforce it.
Did you hear that son of a gun? Did you hear what he said about what's not going to be tolerated? I don't tolerate any Nigerian police or any Nigerian military personnel being killed in Igbo land. I actually agitate for every person responsible for those killings, be them Igbo or whoever, to be arrested and dealt with. But with that said, did you hear that son of a gun give his ultimatums about what they are not going to tolerate going on in Igbo land, but said nothing about what his cronies are tolerating in the north? A young Igbo lady was killed. Her crime is that she's Christian, and she said whatever she said and was killed in the north. Her killers were caught and released a few days later? And how many Igbos and Christians have been killed in the north, and this son of a gun hasn't talked about it? Because Igbos have become the whipping dog in Nigeria, and these idiots keep throwing out their dog whistles, and those dog whistles are responsible for what Igbos go through in the hands of Muslim, overzealous Muslims, and what Igbos are going through in Lagos, be it the destruction of their homes or what happened at the last election. This nonsense can only stop if Igbos put a stop to it. But as long as Igbo leaders pretend they don't hear what's going on, they don't see these things, these idiots are going to continue. My voice is still little. I'm trying to build it up. There are a lot of Igbos of significance in Nigeria that have not said a single word about the xenophobic movement that has started in the north and has come to Lagos, and if nothing is done, will spread across the country. Now, here are very short sound bites from the famous Shetima audio that's been going around for years now, but just to reinforce what I'm talking about, I edited it and just to play you just a few sound bites. These are the reasons why these xenophobic movements are going on in Lagos, going on in the north, and even in the Delta.
That's why the Yoruba say, even if we want to leave this country, we must get this power out of the hand of the Igbos and reposition ourselves. Honestly, the trust, at least of the Southeast, is finished. Let me tell you, even in Yoruba land, let me tell you what they will do to Igbo this time. What Oba of Lagos said that we are pushing them to the ocean. Most of these markets that are burning in Lagos, look at it, they are Igbo-dominated markets. You get me? In fact, some Yorubas were telling me when I was in Lagos last weekend that it is we, the Northerners, when we are in charge of Lagos as federal capital, that open room for Igbos to come and dominate them. And it's over now. And it's over. All the businesses Igbos are doing, we are going to bring it and do it. Do you get me? Fashola for the past 5 years have refused to approve any industry, especially pharmaceutical, to Igbo people. Find out. But the Yoruba people in the 4 years, they want to control their land completely. That's why Buhari have to sign that Lagos is going to be given special status. We are going to have a kind of semi-regional system. Lagos is going to have special status. It means nobody again will control Lagos. The indigenes of Lagos are the ones that are going to control Lagos. They can form land policies. Do you get me? They may decide to say, you as a Yoruba man in Lagos, you will pay 5,000 naira per annum for a land. As me as a Hausa man, I will pay 10,000 naira. Igbo man will pay 1 million naira. After 4 years, Igbos can never be useful, relevant again in the Southeast. Wait and see. In fact, the plan of APC is that they are going to make alliance of Northwest economic development. The West has the ocean. Can you hear me? Yes. The North has agricultural produce. Yes. So what they are going to do, the government is going to develop all the agricultural and mineral resources in the North. And then they will put primary industries here. And then go and export, finally finish them in Lagos or Southwest and export them and bring back the money and share it between the two regions. Let them bring their oil. This is the plan on ground. Our prayer now is that may God remove the influence of the Southeast in our region. That's all what we are praying left and right now. I'm telling you. I like you. Okay.
The question now becomes, where are Igbo leaders? Yes, I know we are whispering it in our kitchens. We are talking amongst ourselves. Arise TV is open. The place that Hakeem Baba Ahmed spoke was Channels TV. How many Igbo leaders have taken this thing to the national level want to address the xenophobic discussions and the hate that these Fulanis and bigoted Yorubas, not Yorubas, it's Tinubu's bigoted Yorubas. How many Igbo leaders have addressed this hate that they are spewing, that's influencing the riffraffs on the streets who carry out the thuggery? How many? How many have gone to Governor Sanwo-Olu and hold him accountable to show them that these houses that are being destroyed had no permits? And if they do, hold him accountable for compensating those Igbos who lost their houses. How many Igbo leaders have done that? That's why I keep talking. Unfortunately, some who watch me say, leave it alone, man. Come on, man, leave it alone. I've dedicated the rest of my life to doing the little I can to be part of fixing Nigeria. But my voice is still little. Many of you are listening to me, some enjoying it and moving on, some saying he's talking garbage. But at least those of you who enjoy what I'm doing, could you please share? Because there's somebody you will share with that will share with more people because they're more enthusiastic about it. Could you please make a comment? Could you please subscribe? That's how I can grow. And if I grow, I can do more with this. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Island TV. And as always, until next time, good night and God bless. Atuma e pijo psycho ndabanya. Wall them on them. Abama ndabanya.